Hey, hola a todos, Rocky here from SpeakSpanishFaster.com, and in today's video, I want to take a second to address two common questions that I get inside of our members circle. Now, if you don't know what our member circle is, it is a part of our 7-day Spanish course. Now, our 7-day Spanish course is our best-selling course. I think we have over 7,300 members inside right now, so it's pretty great. There are tons of students in there right now, and we have a member circle for those students where our students can ask us questions, and obviously I go in there and I answer these questions. So I would say that we recently received two questions. Now, the first question is one that I've gotten numerous times. So I wanted to take a second to break it down and give you the answer that I give to students in the group. I pretty much have this answer saved, so I could just copy and paste it into the group because I've gotten it a few times. So the first question is, what is the difference between tomar and beber? How do I know when to use tomar? How do I know when to use beber? Now, if you don't know what those verbs are, they both mean to drink. So when do you use either one? Now, are you ready for the answer? What they call it, drum roll, please. Use whichever one you want. It doesn't matter. Seriously. I mean, I know some people will get mad when I tell them that because they think it's much more complex. But the true answer to that question is they literally mean the same thing. You can use tomar or you could use beber whenever you want. Use whichever one you want. Now, with that being said, I will say that I personally use myself and with my family members or my friends, we usually use tomar. Very rarely, I would say I rarely use beber, and like my grandma, she never really uses beber. She's from Puerto Rico. She always says tomar. ¿Qué quiere tomar? That's pretty much what she always says when we're at the table. ¿Qué quiere comer? ¿Qué quiere tomar? So I would say in Latin America, the Caribbean, I usually hear tomar. Now, this may be different in Spain, or it may be different in other countries. So when it comes to where you're going to hear it, the difference, or when are you going to hear tomar versus when are you going to hear beber, really, it just depends on the region. It depends on the country that you are in. Now, I also have read that in some countries you might hear beber when talking about alcoholic drinks and tomar just regular drinks. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. If you're from another country where that is true, let me know in the comments. Or if you're Latino or you speak Spanish, I would love to know in the comments which word do you use for to drink. Do you use tomar or do you use beber? But I think this is an instance where students shouldn't get too wrapped up in which one to use, all right? They literally mean the same exact thing. Now, it is good to know both of these verbs because depending on which country you are in, you might hear one or the other. So you do want to know both of them and you want to know how to use both of them because I would say if somebody asks me, ¿Qué quiere tomar? I would respond, yo quiero tomar, using the same verb that they use. Or if somebody says, ¿Qué quiere beber? Then I would use, yo quiero beber. So I would try to use the same verb that they used in the question. And that's always a good habit to build when learning Spanish, is to use the same verb. If somebody asks you a question using a verb, it's really good practice, and it's just a really good habit to build to respond to them using the verb that they used. Now, the next question, so that question pretty much done. Tomar versus beber, which verb do you use? Whichever one you want. They mean the same exact thing. All right. Now, the next question I got actually yesterday in our member circle was from a new student. She just joined. Now, this student, she adopted kids, and they're from Mexico. So she wants to raise them. I don't know if they are speaking yet or if they are speaking, but they don't speak Spanish. They definitely don't speak Spanish. I know that. So she wants to teach them Mexican Spanish, and she's in the course, and clearly I don't speak Mexican Spanish. I don't have a Mexican Spanish accent when I talk. So she asked, how can she implement this course to teach them Spanish, but she wants to teach them Mexican Spanish, and I don't have a Mexican Spanish, so how can this course help them get to where they want to get to? So my answer for her in this instance was that yes, as a teacher, I do recommend students learn a certain type of Spanish. That's one of the best ways to get started. But at the same time, it's okay to consume neutral inputs, especially when you are learning the basics of a language, because the basics don't really change. Because I'm not teaching any Spanish in particular, so I'm not teaching any colloquial, whatever the word is. I'm not teaching any of those words, okay? I'm not teaching any of those slang words inside of my courses. It's pretty much all the basics, the neutrals. Put it like this. When somebody is learning to speak for the news, they have to learn a more neutral Spanish. So they have to learn neutral words because the news has to appeal to Spanish speakers all over the world, right? We have the news, they have to be able to pertain to the upper class, the lower class. If it's a worldwide news station, they have to appeal to people in Puerto Rico, Spain, Mexico. So their Spanish has to be very neutral, whereas the words mean the same thing no matter which country you are in. Now, that country may use other words to signify some of the words being used, but at the end of the day, everybody knows these neutral words. So in my courses, I try my best to speak with a neutral accent, and I try my best to use neutral words that everybody can recognize no matter which country you are in. Now, with that being said, as you improve and you get more comfortable with the language, then you really want to focus on your intonations and all that, the vocabulary you use to represent the culture that you want to speak like, you could say, or the country that you want to, the type of Spanish that you want. So think about when you are learning your own native language. Think about kids. When they're 5, 6, 10 years old, they speak a certain way because they've learned English. They've just learned English from, school, from their friends. So they have a certain way they speak from their parents. They have this way they speak. But over time, as they get older, the way they talk changes, their accent changes because the people they surround themselves by changes. Why does this happen? Because that is how we identify ourselves with language. And the type of input we get, our output resembles that input. You can't take somebody from England, give them nothing but English input and expect them to speak American English. They're going to speak They're going to speak English like someone from England. It's why you could talk. It's like, for example, my mom is from the country and my dad is from the city. My dad's from New York City. My mom's from Virginia. So my mom is funny because when she goes back home to visit her family in the country, she starts using country words. So the crazy thing about all this is that as we grow, we develop the way that we speak. So when you are learning Spanish from scratch, in the beginning, you want to get as much input as possible. Is it good to get the input of the Spanish that you want to speak? Yes. If possible, get as much. If you want to speak Spanish, try to listen to as many Spanish content, to as much Spanish content as possible. Okay? But that isn't the only input you have to consume. You can consume input from the news. You can consume TV shows. You should consume that. You want some variety at the same time. So my answer to her in this instance was use the course to learn Spanish, get the basics of Spanish, while feeding your kids Mexican content as bonus content. Now, my course isn't that long. It's a 30-day course. Of course, you can go through as many times as you want, but it's a 30-day course, and it really puts you on the right path. But in order to speak Spanish like you want, you have to keep going from there. And when you're done with the course, 30 days of using my course isn't going to prevent you from speaking whatever Spanish you want. It's really there to help you get started and to help you improve rapidly, to give you the confidence to be able to start consuming the type of input that you want to consume. So that's my answer for that question is, how can I learn a certain type of accent by just consuming, regular neutral Spanish? And the answer to that question is use the neutral Spanish and use both. All right, they both serve as different purposes. The neutral, the basics can help you build that solid foundation, just as the kid builds their foundation. And then as they get older, they build their own accent, their own intonations, their own pronunciations, the words they use. That's going to be determined by the people they surround themselves by. So I have one quick story to kind of just further show how this works. So I had a friend growing up. Her name was Jacqueline. And I think around 3rd or 4th grade, I can't remember exactly when, but she moved. All right. She moved to New Jersey. And she came back in, I think, 8th grade, 8th grade or 9th grade. I can't remember. But she came back to the neighborhood at around 8th grade. I was 14. So I think that may have been 9th grade, actually. But anyway, age doesn't matter. But what happened is she came back, and she came back with a Jersey accent, talking from the Jersey Shore. Like, she talks straight up from Jersey. And yeah, growing up learning English, she didn't talk like that. When she moved, she didn't talk like that. But because she moved to Jersey, and that's what she was surrounded by all the time, she developed that intonation and that pronunciation. And that's how she spoke from there on out, is she built the Jersey accent, and she kept that Jersey accent. So that's the answer, really. I mean, that story proves the answer to the question is go out, learn. Don't, in the beginning, yes, consume the inputs of the country you want to speak like, but don't think you only have to consume that input to speak like that. Because as you're going to see, your intonation, your pronunciations are going to improve over time. And that over time is how you build. When you become very proficient in the language, that's when you can start to master your pronunciation, your intonation, and the words that you're going to use. So I know that was kind of a long answer, but I get that question. The first question is really basic, really easy, Tomar versus Beber. But the second question is a question that I get often, not asked the same way though, but there's a lot of people that always ask the main, the main thesis, I guess you could say, or the only thing that question really wants to know is, how do I speak a certain type of Spanish, right? From the beginning. If I want to learn a certain type of Spanish, what should I do? Should I just consume regular old Spanish, or should I consume that type of Spanish? And there's many answers. I'm sure there's many theories behind this, but in my opinion, the answer I gave you is the best way to get started with Spanish. And then over time, you will build that accent that you want, that intonation that you want, the pronunciations that you want, the words that you want. That happens with time. In the beginning, you just have to start talking. A baby doesn't come out and start, and a baby from New York City, or a baby growing up in New York City, doesn't immediately come out the womb speaking New English like a New Yorker, right? That doesn't happen. Over time, they learn words, they learn certain pronunciations, and then they develop that. So it's the same thing here with Spanish. All right, so I hope that helps you out if you're looking to take your Spanish to the next level. Definitely check out a free training on our website. I'll put the link in the comments for you. Just click that link. That's going to take you to a page where you can read on my 3 secrets, my 3 biggest secrets to help you learn to speak and comprehend Spanish faster. If you enjoyed the video, do me a big favor, hit the thumbs up. We will get back to our Spanish listening comprehension. I want to do mixes, because I told everybody that I was going to do only the listening comprehension, and then I had some people give a little pushback, like, no, I want listening comprehension, and I want you to help with Spanish grammar and all that stuff. And again, this channel is for you guys. Whatever you guys want, that's what I'm going to provide. So comment below. Let me know what you want, what you need. That's why I created this channel, to help you out. Last but not least, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications so you never miss another video. Until next time, I'll see you then.